what's up guys, Somebody here. It's another week and another show. Bafana Bafana, what a win. And is Coach Nabi coming or what? Let's go.
That's how it goes?
They keep asking about the best when they know it's me.
Okay.
Asking about the rest when they know it's me.
Straight in, I guess.
You know it's me.
Before we talk about Bafana Bafana, Kaizer Chiefs, I mean, what is going on at that football club? Are they getting Coach Nabi or not? It's definitely not going to be Vito Msimane because he's gone. I mean, he's off to the UAE, and congratulations to him. Got in touch with Far Post editor Thokozisi Dube, the previous guest. He was in Tanzania when this news broke and the rumors were coming about in terms of if Coach Nabi is coming to South Africa. I asked him what's going on.
Hi, Sheikhs. Kaizer Chiefs obviously wanted Coach Nabi from Young Africans. I think it's been a story that's been going on for quite a while now, a couple of weeks. I mean, I think the recent development is that Coach Nabi left Young Africans at the end of his contract, so they agreed that they would not renew. And I think he did say that he was obviously considering a number of offers that he has. There's a number of teams that are looking at him. Esperance in Tunisia, JS Kabylie from Algeria, Sierra Beluso died from Algeria as well, and obviously Kaizer Chiefs. So yeah, he did say that he was obviously just weighing up his options. There was talks with Kaizer Chiefs, but they couldn't really come to a place of agreement because I think he has 3 staffers that he would want to bring to South Africa, but the club was insisting that he can only bring 2. And so, yeah, it's been a back and forth. Nothing agreed upon as yet. So yeah, look, I think the deal obviously stalled, but it does look like they could still come to the negotiating table and say, let's compromise, let's meet halfway, and let's see what happens. So they still very much a possibility for for the whole deal to happen. But I can tell you that there's nothing confirmed at the moment. So it's still at negotiation stage. So yeah, that's basically the update. I have a colleague of mine who's a journalist in Tanzania told me that Coach Nabi was set to travel to Belgium, where his family is. So yeah, look, at this point there's still nothing, but very much possible that the deal would happen.
The truth is, when I listen to that, when I listen to the fact that Kaizer Chiefs are contemplating it and they're stalling, I think of one thing. I know the truth. You know the truth. And guess what? The club knows the truth. Adozwane is not the answer. He's not the answer. He's not ready. He's not ready. And I go back to, there's not a single Kaizer Chiefs player in the Bafana Bafana lineup. And it's not just simply down to the fact that Hugo Broos prefers other players over them. The coaching has not been up to standard. And that's the truth. That's the truth. Let's talk about that elephant in the room. If Coach Nabi wants to come with his own staff, Kaizer Chiefs, I plead with you to let him do that, because if you go into the season without Adozwane, we're going to get the same story as last season. A man that I met about 5-6 years ago went on to become influential, someone that I respect, football writer, digital scout, Prince Sobayeni is going to be on Playing the Field with Sheikhs. Spoke about Bafana Bafana versus Morocco, Hugo Broos, Thabo Xele, and the AFCON.
Prince Sobayeni, welcome.
Hola, Shaka. Yo, man, it's been a while, my brother. I'm so happy to be here. It's been a very long time, and I'm happy. I'm happy to be here. I know that we were supposed to have a conversation much earlier in the week, but you know how it is, man. Sometimes things get busy, but we're here, and I'm happy that we're here today because, it's generally a very positive mood. It's good times, and I'm very happy. And thanks for having me, man. And congratulations on your channel, man. Thanks for having me. I've been waiting for that call, for the invitation,
Yeah, it took a long time. I mean, I was thinking about it and I was like, I need to get the right time of when I can get Prince in, because you're the guy who looks after our national team, like all across, under 17, under 20, the senior men's team and stuff. And it's just so crazy that you happened to be a guest right after we beat Morocco. I mean, that game, your thoughts regarding that game, Prince, you must have been happy.
You know what, man? Of course, this is Morocco. We're talking about a team that went to the World Cup, and they were beaten in the semi-final. So we're talking basically a top four team in the world, not only in Africa but in the world. They beat the likes of Belgium, Portugal, to get to the semi-final of the World Cup, and we know the caliber of the players that they have, because these are the players that we watch every season in the Champions League, in the Europa League, in Serie A, La Liga, the Premiership. So we knew that was going to be a difficult game. And to be quite fair, we reserved a place for disappointment, because we knew that, okay, we do have a chance of beating Morocco, but with the quality that they possess, with the quality of the players they have, they might come here and they might give us problems. They might beat us, because already in the first leg, they had already beaten us. And then at the back of that World Cup run and how they've been doing generally, even, in continental competition qualifiers and everything, I was worried. But somehow, man, I had this confidence that we were going to beat Morocco. I think I tweeted about it yesterday that, today, Bafana Bafana is going to shock Morocco. And there was just something about, the game that was played yesterday at the back of losing the legendary coach Clive Barker, at the back of, the consistency we've seen from the national team over the years. And I'm fortunate enough to be in the space of the players, to talk to the players, to understand their mental state and where they are in terms of this game. And before the game started, I got the feeling from the players that, they're going to go all out and they're going to win. And they did just that.
One thing I did like about the performance against Morocco, our boys looked like they didn't care whether Morocco were up for it or not. They were going to go for them. I love the way they went for them. They pressed them. I love the way that they even ran after them. Pista was fit again. But one thing I have to mention to you, man, a lot of people will not give you this credit, but I will. The likes of Mihlali Mayambela, the likes of Luke Leroux being part of the side, playing a part in qualifying, man. Like, are you proud at the fact that some of these players you spoke about a long time ago and now are in the side helping the nation to qualify? You must be proud, man.
Yeah, man, I'm proud. I'm proud, and I'm proud. I'm excited, and I'm happy for the players. Because most people, when we talk about overseas players, because the work that I do does not focus on certain overseas-based players. I mean, we've got almost 200 South African male players that are playing overseas across all age groups, from the youngest, that is 8 years old, to the oldest, that is 30-something, that is a 30-something year old. But we speak and we monitor every player, regardless of where they are playing, regardless of the league that they are in. And the players that I feel, deserve an opportunity to represent the national team, I've never shied away from it. And even in future, I will never shy away from saying, Luke Leroux deserves a chance, because he's a regular at Vapek and he's making an impact, and now he's even the captain. I will not shy away from saying Mihlali Mayambela has been consistent over the years, and he deserves this opportunity. And to be quite fair, most of the players that I've put my head on the block and said they deserve the opportunity, they've come in, they've delivered, including Pepelos Tole himself, is among those players that came in and they did not just add the numbers, but they made a good impact in the national team. Hence, you notice that, when they were called for the first time, they always come back again and again and again. They are called to the team, winning that, which shows the quality that they have. So I'm proud, I'm proud to see the boys coming in and fighting. But moreover, I'm comfortable because these are players that deserve to be in the team. Not every player that plays overseas deserves to be in the team, deserves the opportunity to be in the team. But every player that plays overseas, much like the local players that are playing locally in the PSL, everyone deserves an equal opportunity to prove themselves or to be assessed, and then the coaches can make the final judgment.
You look over the past couple of selections, Korisang has been in great form in Portugal. At the same time, Tabakele as well. I mean, I know he's had his injury problems too. Are you slightly disappointed that they're not given more opportunities within the national side? Because it looks like we're going to go to AFCON without them at this stage. It feels that way.
No, I just think I think they've got one leg in the national team. They've just got to fight. to get the other leg in the national team, and and the only way to do that is to be consistent in performance. Tabotel was very unfortunate. He was playing so well in Poland, playing every game, 90 minutes, starting every game, and then the injury happened. And sometimes when injuries happen, man, they can set you back the whole season, which is what happened to him. He was out for a couple of months, and then when he came back, the team was playing well, and he didn't play much in the second half of the season. But he's a player that fights. We've seen his quality, and we know his quality. So I'm not worried. I'm not really worried about the Africa Cup of Nations per se. To the Africa Cup of Nations, only a certain number of players can go. Not every player will go, but I believe that they do have a future in the national team, even if it's beyond the AFCON. So we'll see what happens. But these are players that are not really young, but they still got the years. Kodisang is turning 24 this year. Tabakele turned 26 earlier this year. So they've still got the years, but you know how it is, man. The sooner the better. But if the team is performing, Bafana Bafana is performing and bringing results, you can't really falter, the coach that much. But I feel like players like Kawamelo Kodisang should be in. He's given opportunities to Mailula, he's given opportunities to Maseko. Why not give Kodisang an opportunity as well?
I'm so glad, Prince, that you actually mentioned the age part, and it just came into my mind, this question. Kodisang is about to turn 24, Tswele is 26. Yesterday we had a debut performance by Obas. Obas was really, really good, and he's 28. I never put this here, Prince, but my disappointment is that I saw he's 28 years old, and I was like, this is bad from us. How is someone at 28 years old only making their debut for Bafana Bafana? Why is it that Kodisang was lighting it up at Tokyo, for example, and now he's not in the national side? It's we're also going to wait till Kodisang turns 28 too. Or why do we introduce players so late into the national team? I don't understand. What do you say?
You know what? For so many years I've complained about this, and it's one of our biggest weaknesses in South Africa, and it leads to us not utilizing players, quality players, to the best of their abilities, or maximizing or using the players to maximize their talent and their time within the national team. I always used to make an example of the 2009 under-20 generation that we had Andy Lejali, Tulan Serrero, Captain Baramatho Mpahlele. Mpahlele is the captain of that team, only debuted for Bafana Bafana when he was 26 years old. But he was the captain of the team. And we've seen in recent years the likes of Gledwin Shitolo, they were given their debuts when they were 31. We've seen Kamaldeen, who used to play for Swallows. He was given his debut at 31. So even Velimoto only debuted recently. I think it was 29. This is a culture that we need to fix. And how do we fix it? We fix it by doing generational selection. So generational selection, you mentioned that Kodisang was doing so well at Tokyo, but we don't see him in Bafana Bafana currently. He's still struggling like someone who was outside the system for years. But Kodisang played under 15. He went to the World Cup. Under 17, he went to the World Cup. Under 22 World Cup. He went to the Olympics as well. So this is a player that's already inside the system, but now he needs to, prove himself, another 200% before he can get his opportunity at Bafana Bafana. Tabokele has played it under 20 with a World Cup. And by the way, it must be noted that Tabokele was the best midfielder at under 20 when he went to the World Cup. Olympics, he was amongst maybe the top two, if not the best midfielder at the Olympics. But it does not even have a single Bafana Bafana cap. So this is the problem that we've been facing over the years. And I think the only way we can curb it, I like what Safa is doing now with the under 15s, having these under 15s come in. If we can keep that team of the under 15s for the next 15 years together, that is how the best nations do. That's how they do the generational selection.
We don't want that at all. One thing, I'm not even laying it at Hugo Broos as a problem or something. I think even us as a nation, because I just think, for example, Hakimi and Kodisang are almost the same age, but Hakimi's got so many caps for Morocco, and whereas Kodisang was still waiting, and it's almost like that needs to be fixed. But you brought Hugo Broos into the thing. What have you made of Hugo Broos overall in his time? He's won games, he's only lost 3 times, but overall, what have you made of him as a coach?
For me, there are certain aspects. Overall, if I were to give it an out of 10, I would give him maybe 7 out of 10, because the other 3 certain elements of consistency that I'm not happy with him. He doesn't have consistency in terms of the reasoning in selection. That is my most frustration with him in terms of the reasoning when it comes to selection. What is done on the right must be done on the left. There must be a balance, and I think that if you are a coach that applies that principle, at least with selection, will always appreciate. Like for example, we mentioned the issue of Godisang. The last time, I mean, I was even the one asking at the SABC studios why Godisang was not selected in March, and he said the level where Godisang plays is not good enough, the intensity is not good enough. But in November, the previous year, he had said if Godisang continues, he was definitely going to be there in March. And in March, he did not select him still, even though Godisang was consistent with his performances. And the coach said the level is not good, but he went and selected Yaya, who's a very quality player, but he plays in the same division. And his team was even struggling. Godisang was flying with his team. So that consistency, if you can fix that consistency, and maybe not a reason like that, just be honest that I don't prefer this player because of the way that I play, and we'll understand that. But at least in your reasoning, be frank. And he also said that he does not want to take the risk, but he selected Mailula in the same team in March, who was also his first cap or his first call up to Bafana Bafana. So there's no consistency also with that. And I mean, he selected Maseko now, he selected Opas, for example, now for the first time, and he still left at Godisang. So I'm just saying, if he can have consistency in terms of his selection, I would be 100% happy with him. But other than that, I think we need to appreciate the fact that he is a man with a plan. He's a man with a plan and he's executing his plan and it's working for him. I mean, we might have differed that, hey, why did you start Opas ahead of Blom or Luke Luru? But Opas performed, and at the end of the day, we got the result. So he knows how to maximize the capabilities or talents of the players that he selects. And you can always appreciate that about any coach, because a coach selects players that suits his system or the way that he likes to play. And he does that. I mean, even with Nico Mobi, we might not be happy that, he left at Mutau and Nico Mobi is there. He says Nico has never, and because Nico has performed, he has performed. When he has performed, he's never really blundered or been below par in the games that he's played, except that one, against France. And I think for me, also the game against Ghana, Nico Mobi was very bad in that game against Ghana where we lost 1-0. But other than that, I mean, his players are fighting for him, and I think that's what every coach wants. Coach Pito had Kata Kompela, maybe Stuart Backside, his own player that we know, or his own player that we know. Okay,
didn't he have Dean Furman?
Backside Furman, but Coach Pito and Kata Kompela, we used to be under fire for selecting Pela, even though Pela was not performing. And I remember one away game against Egypt, and Pela scored the only goal. And Peter said, "I know this boy. I know that's why I was selecting him." So I feel like every coach has those type of players. And at the end of the day, as South Africans, if the results are coming, then we would be happy. As much as we would prefer Neo Mayama to get a chance, but if whoever comes into his place and plays, then we've got no leg to stand on if the performances are coming. But the coach should be under fire if the players were not delivering. But the players are delivering. And I think from yesterday, what we can all learn is that regardless of our views or opinions, which we can always share and talk about, we have to appreciate and have confidence in the coach, because he clearly knows what he's doing and the players are performing, and which is what we want.
Yeah.
We can have the players that we want and they get there, they don't perform, then what? But the players that he's bringing in are performing, and he's making a lot of people eat pies. What they're serving.
It's apple pie.
He's serving us.
Yeah,
so I'm pleased. So I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable with him at the moment, and I've decided that regardless of my certain opinions, which I will always share, I must have faith in him, and I think every South African needs to appreciate that and have faith in him, because look, we beat Morocco yesterday, the best team in Africa. And if we can beat Morocco, who wouldn't we beat?
And that's the thing. It's funny you say that in terms of having to beat Morocco. And you're right about Hugo Broos and the results that he's getting. Because even with me, I do have sometimes these selection criteria. I'm not sure. But then I have to support him as a coach. We nearly went to the World Cup playoffs. That's number one. He's only lost 3 times. That's number 2. He's already beaten the likes of Ghana and as well as Morocco. Next year's AFCON, Prince, how far can we really go? Like, hand on heart. And also, this is the same guy who took Cameroon that didn't expect to win it in 2017, but they won it. So now we find ourselves here with all these results. How far can we really go?
For me, I think I would be comfortable if we go beyond the last 16. If we can go beyond the last 16. In fact, if we make it through the group stage and go through the last 16, anything is possible in knockout football. Mm-hmm. And I think what the boys showed yesterday, it showed that we can go all the way if we take it game by game and apply ourselves and play to our strengths. Because if we can beat Morocco, then it means that on our best day, we can beat any team in Africa.
I don't think people are talking about this enough. Of course, we got AFCON coming, but Hugo Broos is in his 70s, guys. And now Pito's going to the UAE. He's got another job. Al Wada is the club that he's going to. I mean, do we have a succession plan in Bafana Bafana? I mean, Hugo Broos can't keep.
We've never had. Guys. We've never had, and that's one of our biggest problems. When you look at Germany has had, when they went to the 2002 World Cup, where they were beaten by Brazil in the final, they had a coach. And the assistants of that coach are the ones that took over 2006 World Cup, and later the coach that took Germany that won the World Cup with Germany in 2014. He then took over in 2010, and then after that, the one that was assisting that coach is the one that's coaching Germany now. So you see now they've got a succession plan. For me, I feel Pito has unfinished business with Bafana Bafana, and I feel this experience that he's gaining now abroad, winning titles, the likes of Al Ahly, having coached in Egypt, and now he's off to the UAE. He's preparing himself to take over Bafana Bafana. That's how I'm seeing it. And I think with Hugo Broos being 71, and his contract is going to end before the World Cup in 2026, I think Pito must gain this experience so they can come take over Bafana Bafana. No one can dispute that coach. Pito has proven himself that he's amongst the best coaches in the world, because he's winning titles and his name is up there with the best. I mean, the likes of Nigeria already want him to coach them. Why can't we utilize him? I mean, Benny McCarthy should come back and coach in Bafana Bafana at some point, whether as an assistant to Pito or as a head coach for that matter. I think he's also ready for that role. So I think for me, those two are the candidates I would put. So Coach Pito for me would be the number one candidate. Benny McCarthy, Bradley Canel, Steven Pienaar, all of them can come together and come and help from the junior to the senior national team.
I see you didn't mention Atazwan. I'll play.
No. Mangete must first prove himself, by winning titles and, doing some Chiefs or any other club that he coaches, but he's failed the Chiefs already. But I don't think he's ready for that role yet. He must prove himself first.
No, 100%. Listen, man, 4 minutes left. Last question that I have. I think everybody wants to hear it from you, Prince, because you're the guy, you're the national team guy. 2026 World Cup. Will Bafana Bafana be there, yes or no?
Yes, definitely yes, man. With the increased number of teams, I think we'll be there, man. And I think, let me be honest with you. You see this generation of players that we have now, quality players. But the generation after this generation, oh man, I'm scared. I'm scared. And I think those are the boys that will be 2021, 22 by the time of that World Cup. 19, 20, 20, they will be doing wonders, man. We're talking about boys at Ajax Amsterdam, Noordjylland, Liverpool, Vitesse, PSV Eindhoven, Feyenoord. Big clubs, man. And these boys, I think by that time, they will be the ones that are going to be taking us to that World Cup and the next World Cup after that one. So definitely, this is the foundation what we have right now. Some of these guys will be at that World Cup, but I'm expecting a lot of 20-year-olds that will be exceptional. 19-year-olds that will be exceptional going to that World Cup. And you must remember that you must archive this, Shaka Shaka. It was first said on this podcast of yours that South Africa in 2026 will be having a different type or a different breed in terms of the players. Even Mabena is amongst those players, that generation of players. So I'm looking forward to seeing what these boys have in store for us in the next 3-4 years, that different clubs. So South Africa will definitely be there. We'll definitely be there. I'm confident about it.
Prince, when you say it, I believe it even more. I've already believed it to myself, but when you say it, I believe it even more. Man, thank you for this conversation. Lastly, where do people find you? I know you have a website as well.
Hey, yeah, man. I've launched a new project. Obviously, my traditional, social media page is Prince Sobayeni Sports, where you normally find any updates about our players. But I've launched a new project, Mzansi Ballers, which is, a new project that's looking at giving people a platform where they can follow, where they can monitor, where they can even read about the latest developments with our players that are playing overseas. So we have a website, Mzansi Ballers, www.mzansipollers.com, and that is also on social media as Mzansi Ballers on all social media platforms. So from next season, Mzansi Ballers will be coming, fully on board in terms of the social media as well. Prince of Any Sports, will be more like my personal account, but the official account of of anything that has to do with monitoring of overseas-based players is Mzansi Ballers on all platforms. And then if you don't follow us on social media, you can always visit our website. That's how you get the stories, the videos, and everything. And funny enough, we're also going to be launching our own podcast, our weekly podcast. That's going to be focusing on having conversation with these players on a weekly basis and just bringing their stories closer to the people. And that is Mzansi Ballers. And yeah, thank you, man, for having me. So it's been a very long time since we met at those escalators at SABC.
No, I remember that. And Prince, man, I gotta tell you something, man. I'm so glad that we're starting to see some of your work coming into the national team at youth level and even at senior team as well. Prince, whatever you do, I've only got 1 minute left. Whatever you do, please don't stop. I'm begging you. Even if I go, you mustn't stop. Please, man.
There's no other way, Mshaka, moving forward. At least now we're seeing a bit of light. So that's motivation enough for me to maybe just put gear 4, because I'm still on gear 3 right now. Gear 4 and then gear 5, gear 6, and then, we keep going. But, it's great time for South African football. People like me and you make a big difference because we give people a side of the world or a side of the game that they don't know. So I will never keep stopping as long as people like yourselves and other people who support us will always be there. So yeah, thank you, man. Thank you, man, for the platform, and thank you for the words of encouragement.
Prince, all the best, man.
It's time for our weekly bet of the week. The purpose of this segment is to show you my bet slip in hopes that it helps yours light and green. The more accurate, the more cash you get. Let's get into it. International friendlies and Euro Championships qualifiers. Let's go. Estonia against Belgium. I've gone Belgium straight win. Moldova against Poland. I've gone Poland straight win. Norway against Cyprus. It's Holland, right? So I've gone Norway. Scotland versus Georgia. I've gone Scotland straight win. Brazil against Senegal. I've gone Brazil to win. The odds are 3.55. The most that I can make is 1,600. Betway scratch. Be on the lookout, guys. There is tons of prizes that is coming your way. Check out Betway's social media channels, Twitter, Instagram, as well as Facebook. Lot to win. And if you want to win with me, click on the link below. That is Bet of the Week, sponsored by Betway. Remember to practice responsible betting at betway.co.za. Until the next one, all the best. We've come to the end of the show. Really hope you enjoyed it. Bafana Bafana. Beating Africa's best team. Unbelievable. And for you that's watching, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified for future episodes.